What exactly can you do in Hiroshima in 72 hours on a budget? That's exactly what I'm going to answer in this video as I explore one of Japan's most historically significant cities. In just one short trip and one video, it's impossible to cover everything Hiroshima has to offer, but I'll take you through some of the best things to see and do, a few great places to eat, a couple of hidden gems, and one of Japan's greatest day trips. So, without further ado, let's get into the video.
I arrived in Hiroshima about an hour ago and I spent the first hour on the train platforms just taking photos and videos of the Shinkansen. They're so cool. I think we're all aware of the main attraction to Hiroshima, but I've got 3 days here and I want to see what else I can find out about this city. I want to try as much food as possible, hopefully find some hidden gems and experience some culture, and just see what we can find that is different, that is not going to be the main tourist stop of the atomic bomb dome or related to the tragic history.
So, the first place I wanted to show you was a Happy Pancake, because this is the place to get those famous jiggly souffle pancakes which we've all seen on social media. Unfortunately, however, the Hiroshima location has since closed down. But I thought I'd keep this in the video to put a Happy Pancake on your radar, as they still have locations you can visit in Osaka, Nagoya, Tokyo, and a few other cities. Otherwise, you can always get fluffy pancakes from Mokugawa Pancake on Miyajima Island near Hiroshima when you visit. However, when you visit a Happy Pancake, you'll find the pancakes taste as good as they look, and you can literally see them being made from your seat, which means they're as fresh as can be. Having a sweet tooth, I went for the sweet pancakes with banana and chocolate, which were delicious. But there were also savory options which came with egg and bacon or salmon. So there's something for everyone here.
Those souffle pancakes were everything I imagined them to be, so I can definitely recommend going to that place, and they have filled me right up. So in order to work up an appetite for dinner again, I'm going to have a few beers and I'm going to check out the craft beer scene here in Hiroshima, and I'm going to do one better than that. I'm going to try a Guinness in Japan. Now, as an Irishman, we're always told Guinness does not travel well and you can't get a good Guinness outside of Ireland. However, I had a great Guinness when I was in Busan in South Korea, so I want to see, can we get a good Guinness here in Japan? But first, I'm going to find a little craft brewery and check out the craft beer scene.
Luckily, Raku Beer was right around the corner. It's a small, cozy tap room that's popular with locals, and after tasting a few of their beers, it's easy to see why. That said, Raku Beer is currently temporarily closed, so if that's still the case during your visit, make sure to check out their sister bar, Golden Garden.
That was the loveliest wee brewery slash bar with the loveliest staff too. There was a girl in there who spoke English, which was so good. It's so nice just to be able to converse with someone. But I do feel bad being in another country and not being able to speak the language, but it is what it is. Anyway, time for a Guinness, and of course, where are you going to get a Guinness in any country but an Irish bar? So that is exactly where we're going, a place called Molly Malone's.
I visited Hiroshima at the start of June, which apparently coincided with the very first day of the rainy season. But it also coincided with the Tokasan Yukata Festival, a 3-day festival from the first Friday in June, which celebrates the arrival of summer with yukatas, street food, lanterns, drumming, and dance, which explains the huge crowds you see here, which aren't typical in this city. Nevertheless, I survived the crowds and made it to the bar unscathed.
Well, you can take the man out of Ireland, sláinte. It's definitely needed after navigating those crowds. Do you know what? That Guinness was actually not bad at all. I would even say it's good, probably better than some of the Guinnesses I've had in Ireland, but that's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting absolutely soaked. But I'm going to take you or show you a place to get one of Hiroshima's local specialty foods.
Welcome to Okonomimura, the most fun and immersive place to try Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki. Here you'll find 24 restaurants spread over 4 floors, each specializing in this iconic local dish. But what is Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki, I hear you say? Well, let me tell you. Okonomiyaki is often described as a Japanese savory pancake, but that barely scratches the surface. The word okonomi means as you like, and yaki means grilled, which hints at how customizable this dish is. In Hiroshima style, everything is built in layers rather than mixed together like that of Osaka style. It starts with a thin crepe-like batter, followed by a mountain of cabbage, bean sprouts, pork, noodles, which are usually yakisoba, egg, and finally a generous drizzle of sweet, savory okonomiyaki sauce. And in my particular case here, I opted for an additional portion of chicken. Watching it being cooked right in front of you on a sizzling hot plate is half the experience, and tasting it fresh off the grill is something you won't forget.
Here it is then, Hiroshima okonomiyaki. I have been waiting for this all day, and look how good it looks. Oh, let's get tucked into this.
Your okonomiyaki stays on the grill to keep it warm. So to cut it up and scoop it onto your side plate, you're given this little spatula, which for some reason is really fun, but not as fun as savoring all those delicious flavors, textures. Bon appetit.
That okonomiyaki really hit the spot. I'm so satisfied right now. And I think we're going to leave it there for today, because I want to get up early in the morning and hit Hiroshima hard. I want to get a full day exploring all the main sites in the city. And having said that, it is Saturday night, so I'm going to walk around for a little bit, see what else I can find. If there is anything else I can find, I'll put it in after this clip. If not, I'll catch you guys in the morning and we'll see what tomorrow brings.
I decided to wander the streets a bit and embrace the nighttime ambience, but I ultimately decided that I fancied a drink. So I found the tiny but fun tropical bar Revolution, located high up in a building just 5 minutes walk from Okonomimura. Here I wound down with a few drinks, enjoyed the atmosphere, and even made a few friends.
Hello from Japan.
Before walking back to the hostel and calling it a night. The next morning, under grey and rainy skies, I visited Hiroshima's Peace Memorial Museum. Visiting this museum is a powerful yet harrowing experience, but it's not one you should avoid. Before August 6, 1945, Hiroshima was a lively, modern city. Streetcars ran through downtown, children walked to school, and families lived along the rivers. Then, at 8:15 a.m., in a single flash, 80,000 lives were erased instantly, with another 60,000 gone by the end of the year. Inside the museum, the focus shifts to what happened after the explosion, the part often left out of the history books. Survivors wandered through the ruins with severe burns, desperate for water, many collapsing along the riverbanks. Soon after the bomb exploded, a strange black rain fell from the sky, carrying radioactive ash that poisoned those who drank it or were caught beneath it. Radiation sickness followed, hair loss, fever, and long-term illnesses that haunted survivors for decades. Survivors of the atomic bombings became known as hibakusha, or bomb-affected people, and not only suffered long-term health issues, but faced discrimination in Japanese society due to ignorance about the effects of radiation, as people thought it might be contagious. If these insights don't make this museum unforgettable, then the stories you'll learn in the wake of destruction and humanity they preserve will do the trick. Personal belongings, photographs, and first-hand testimonies remind you that this wasn't just an act of war, but a complete failure of the human race. Visiting the Peace Memorial isn't about the past alone. It's a warning, a memorial, and a call for peace that every visitor to Hiroshima should experience.
When you get done with the Peace Museum, you might be feeling a little hungry like I am. So what I'm going to do is show you guys one of the best places in the city for mazamen, and luckily it is only a few hundred meters from the museum here. Let's go.
Welcome to Okundo, a delightfully cozy spot in Hiroshima known for its friendly staff. Here you can try mazamen, a flavorful brothless ramen for just 700 yen. And for an extra 350 yen, don't miss the deep fried oysters, a local Hiroshima speciality. Mazamen comes with thick, springy noodles, tender pork, and a perfectly soft-boiled egg, all coated in a rich, oil-based sauce infused with warming spices. The name mazamen literally means mixed noodles, and it's meant to be enjoyed exactly that way. I loved how mixing in the soft-boiled egg creates a creamy, almost carbonara-like texture that is just divine. When you're done here, if you haven't already, I recommend you head back towards the Peace Memorial Museum and explore the rest of the Peace Memorial Park. Eventually, you might find yourself drawn towards the A-bomb dome and the junction of the Ioi Bridge, where you could happen upon this man.
How nice is this? I've just been taking photos here and I've met this nice man who's giving me some bread. I know we're feeding birds together. So cool. It's things like this that make the trip, little memories, little moments.
Photography is usually my main focus when I travel, but in Hiroshima I didn't take many photos. This is one I did want to share though, because it captured something that stuck with me. It's a small everyday moment. Someone interacting peacefully with nature, set against the backdrop of the A-bomb dome. For me, that contrast says a lot. On one side, there's a quiet reminder of one of humanity's worst moments. On the other, there's life continuing in a gentle, human way. I like that this photo holds both of those things at once.
So right now I am standing on the Ai bridge right in the center of Hiroshima, and this bridge is very peculiar in its design in that halfway along on one side there is a T junction, which means traffic can come onto the bridge from 3 different directions. Now, unfortunately, that means when this bridge is viewed from the air, say from an aircraft, it forms a crosshair, and it is for that reason that it was selected as the target for the atomic bomb. Now, what actually happened when the bomb was dropped over the bridge, it deviated from its course by about 240 meters, which meant it fell right over the A-bomb dome. Now, that is probably one of the reasons why the A-bomb dome is actually still standing, because that bomb detonated right above the dome. It was subject to vertical loads because the forces of the bomb were acting straight down as opposed to shearing and cutting through the building. And so because it is built of concrete and brick, which are really good in taking compressive loads, it is still standing to this day.
If you're into quieter, more unsettling details, I'd recommend crossing the road from the A-bomb dome to find this small Jesus statue. Look closely at the base and you'll notice something unsettling, a faint nuclear shadow. When the bomb detonated almost directly overhead, intense heat rays bleached the surrounding stone to a lighter color. Because the base of the statue was recessed, it retained its original tone. It's a small detail, but one that's both fascinating and deeply unsettling. Just around the corner is another easily missed but thought-provoking sight. A simple plaque marks the exact point in the sky about 600 meters above where the atomic bomb exploded in 1945. It's surprisingly modest, and maybe that's what makes it so powerful. Standing there, the contrast between this small marker and the immense scale of destruction and suffering it represents is hard to ignore. After taking all that in, I wasn't quite ready to sit with the heaviness of it all. So I decided it was time for dinner. Just nearby is Suki Akari, a small atmospheric restaurant specializing in Hiroshima's signature dish, anago meshi, conger eel served over rice, alongside local sake. The space is intimate and almost zen-like, and as luck would have it, my server was Michael, someone I'd met the night before at Tropical Bar Revolution. Not only did he recommend a dish that satisfied my curiosity, but he also suggested a perfectly paired sake and explained the traditional 3 ways anago meshi can be eaten.
Michael's told me there's 3 ways to eat it. Firstly, you can just eat the eel and the rice by itself, and the second way is you can mix the eel and the rice with the seaweed here, and then I think we have some pickled seaweed, and I think this is radish, and then 2 different kinds of wasabi. And then the third way is, if I still have some eel and rice left at the end of a meal, I can put it in this bowl with this eel bone broth, and then mix it in the bowl, and then I slurp the rice and the eel and the broth all together.
Experiencing the meal like this felt genuinely cultural, and whilst it wasn't cheap, it was absolutely worth it. After dinner, I was ready to call it a night, but not before one last stop. A short walk away is Kenbi's Brew Pub, something of an institution in Hiroshima for both locals and travellers. I'd been invited to check it out for open mic night by an English guy I'd met at the Irish bar the night before, and I'm really glad I did. The atmosphere was warm and welcoming, the beer was spot on, and even without trying the food, it's easy to see why Kenbi's has such a local following. If you're putting together a Hiroshima itinerary, this is one place I definitely recommend adding. On day 3, I got up really early and took a day trip to Miyajima Island. I wanted to see the famous floating torii gate, meet the sacred deer, and try some local snacks, and honestly, I can't recommend this trip enough. It feels completely different from Hiroshima, but it's close enough to be an easy day trip. Getting there is pretty straightforward. Depending on where you're staying, you can take the train, tram, or both like I did. The fastest option is the train from JR Hiroshima Station to Miyajima-guchi. Costs about 840 yen return and takes around 25 minutes. The cheapest option is the tram, costing roughly 540 yen return, but it takes just over an hour. When you get to Miyajima-guchi, the ferry terminal is right next door. A return ferry ticket costs 400 yen plus a 100 yen visitor tax, and ferries run every 15 minutes starting from 9:10 a.m. Now, a quick heads up, this place gets busy, as do the ferries, so once you're on board, I recommend heading up to the upper deck and grabbing a spot outside on the right hand side. Here you'll get a great first view of the Torii Gate, but if you'd rather sit inside, there's also an air-conditioned cabin. The ferry ride itself is only about 10 minutes, and don't be surprised that the first thing you see when you step off the ferry is a deer. These sacred deer roam freely all over the island, and they're definitely not shy. There's a lot to do in Miyajima, so here's what I think is the most efficient way to see the main sights. First, you'll naturally end up at the Torii Gate. Go check it out, take some photos, enjoy the moment, but then, if the weather's good, head straight for Mount Maizen. Follow the signs for the free shuttle bus to Momiji-dani Station, where you can buy a round-trip ropeway ticket for about 2,000 yen. You can hike up instead, but that'll take around 2 hours. The ropeway is worth it though. The views over the Sado Inland Sea and the forested island are unreal. You switch gondolas halfway up, and from Shishiwa Observatory, the views are seriously impressive. If you've got time, you can hike a bit further to the summit for full 360-degree views. I didn't have time, so I headed back down after soaking it all in. By then, you'll probably be hungry, so head over to Miyajima-cho Omotesando Street. This is where all the food is. You'll find everything from okonomiyaki to street snacks, souffle pancakes, and even some delicious local craft beers. Miyajima is especially famous for oysters. If there's one place to try them, it's here. I definitely recommend the grilled oysters. They're super creamy, really flavorful, especially with a bit of melted cheese on top. You can also try deep fried oysters if you want something quick and savory, though the grilled ones were the highlight for me. After that, take some time to wander the quieter back streets and then make your way to Hokoku Jinja. For a small entrance fee, you can see the 5-story pagoda and the Hall of 1,000 Mats, a massive structure commissioned by Toyotomi Hideyoshi in the 1500s that was never finished. While you're there, you can also pick up a goshuin, a handwritten temple stamp that makes a great souvenir. As the day winds down, head back towards the Torii Gate, but not before grabbing dessert. Momiji Manju, the maple leaf-shaped cakes filled with things like custard or chocolate, are a local speciality. These are Momiji Manju, buckwheat or rice cakes that are filled with red bean paste, chocolate or custard, and they're so delicious that I had to fend off a local resident trying to steal them from right under my nose. By now the crowds will have dissipated, and depending on the tide times, you might actually be able to walk out to the now not so floating Torii Gate, just like the residents do. But if the tide is still in, don't fret, because it's still just as special to relax on the shore and watch the sunset before making your way back to the ferry terminal, not forgetting to say goodbye to your hosts and making your way back to Hiroshima for dinner.
Right, we are down to my last few hours here in Hiroshima, and for my last stop I've come to Hiroshima Castle.
The original Hiroshima Castle was destroyed by the atomic bomb in 1945, and the one you see today was rebuilt in 1958 and now serves as a museum. Entry costs around 370 yen, and if you have an interest in all things samurai, then this is honestly a steal, because the castle houses tons of samurai swords, armor, and artifacts from the feudal era. There are even hands-on areas where you can lift a real sword, and when you're done there, you can try on a samurai helmet for a good photo opportunity. Then if you climb to the top, you get the best view of central Hiroshima, a modern city wrapped around centuries of history.
Hiroshima Castle is definitely worth it. You could spend an hour or more here easily reading about all the history of Hiroshima and this castle, and the collection of swords alone I think is enough to warrant a visit here. It was really great to get to hold the sword and see what an actual katana feels like. But yeah, that is the end of the video, guys. What a city Hiroshima is. You need at least 3 days here, but you could easily spend 4 or 5 just chilling in this city. And of course, one video could never show you everything that this city or any city has to offer, but I do hope you have enjoyed the video or you found it useful and insightful, and it helps you plan your trip to Hiroshima. And if you have found it useful or enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button, because that will help YouTube push the video out to other people who might also like the video or find it useful. And if you want to keep up to date with all my future videos, please hit subscribe and YouTube will let you know when I post a new video. Anyway, I'm off to possibly Himeji right now, but definitely Kyoto later tonight, so stay tuned for videos from there, and I'll catch you in the next one.